I would like to start by sharing my screen. See, what we're going to do today is first, we'll talk about what grief is, how we have experienced grief. I would like all of us to share with each other. In the meanwhile, I'll request everyone to be on mute. Okay. And once we are done with this, then we'll start with our actual session of EFT. Okay. Because I believe that unless and until you understand what the concept is, you don't have clarity about how you're feeling. It becomes difficult for you to tap on those emotions. Okay. And for those of you, please raise your hands who are new to EFT. Can I? Okay, Neeta is new to EFT. Who else is new to EFT? Vikram is new. Vikram, you had attended a session, right? No?
Yeah, I'm also hearing it.
No? Okay. Surrogate EFT? No. Okay. Okay. So we had EFT sessions which were in March and April. You will find recording of those sessions on the YouTube channel. Okay. I see that my son has joined and he's raised his hand. Okay. ठीक है, Addy. Okay, so that is new. Okay, Nandita, yes. So what we can do today is you can just follow whatever I'm doing, okay? Because this is going to be a very hands-on session. And subsequently, I would recommend and urge you to go through what is EFT all about. That session is there on the YouTube channel with Joining Hands. Alternatively, you will also find it if you type Dr. Ashwini Kamath. That is my YouTube channel. So you will understand what EFT is. To make it very simple, EFT is emotional freedom technique. So it is one of the ways in which we are able to release those emotions when they get at the moment when they get very overwhelming. So this is one modality that can help you when you are in the throes of emotion. Okay. No other modality can give you this. It's an instant, it's like Maggi noodles. Okay. So when you are feeling extremely angry, extremely sad, and it's getting too overwhelming, sir kya upar se nikal raha hai, this is when EFT comes to your help. And for EFT to help you, it needs to be a daily practice. Okay. It is a wonderful tool to ground you. It's a wonderful tool of gratitude, of forgiveness. It's a whole package. And you will notice this today. We have done a lot of other sessions. We have done EFT with anger, to deal with anger. We have done it to deal with the painful memories. We have done it to deal with the pain, physical pain, emotional pain. We have also done a session of surrogate EFT and also on weight-related issues and body acceptance. So you will find all of those. Please feel free to browse. Okay. So we begin with this. Okay. Visible? Okay. So grief is just love. Okay. It's love that gets stuck up. There's so much of love that you want to give, but the person is no longer there. Okay. So tears are how we express them. That heaviness of the heart is how we feel it. Wonderful quote, right?
तेरे बिना जिंदगी से कोई शिकवा तो नहीं, शिकवा नहीं, शिकवा नहीं, शिकवा नहीं, तेरे
This sums up what grief means to me today. Okay. How many of you feel the same? You can raise your hands. We've all lost people, right? Yes. Absolutely.
I lost the sharing. Will you stop sharing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I stopped sharing because I'll share the screen later on. Okay. Am I visible?
If you are.
Oh, wonderful. So I want to begin by asking you a question. What is that one thing that is absolutely certain for all of us? That one thing that we are absolutely sure about the moment when we are born from our mother's womb. Tell me.
Death.
Absolutely. Absolutely. See, but each one of us, we are going through life in a kind of haze, no? It's an illusion. It's as if death will never come and touch us. It will never come to us. And we go on making plans. There's so many ridiculous things we do, no? We study, we get educated, we get married, we have kids, we build houses, we hoard stuff. I mean, we make and break relationships, all this stuff, that stuff, everything, right? I have it's actually funny. I planned for this topic like 2 weeks ago. So we want to plan for everything. But do we plan for death? Do we even talk about death with our loved ones? About our own death? About their death? Mare tumhare dushman. They say, no? Shubh shubh bolo yaar. Why are you talking about death? So we want to avoid and deny that topic. You know, we are so scared that in our country, we don't even buy insurance. So how many of you have told your near and dear ones what needs to be done after your death? Put your hands up. Wonderful, wonderful. So when we don't plan for this eventuality and it happens, pata hai kya hota hai? Bolo bolo kya hota hai? So we are all lost. We are totally lost. Ever been to a seashore? You stand with your feet in water as those waves come and lap at your feet. You feel staggered, right? You're not prepared. Now just imagine that you are standing in that water, okay? And those waves are not just small waves, but huge tsunami waves. Because that's exactly how we feel, no? When we lose a loved one. So you feel so lost and you feel so numb and you feel so scared. You feel angry and sad and all those gamut of emotions in between. You're understanding what I'm telling you, right? Each one of us has experienced this. And this is the time when we get so much of free advice and gyan. You must be strong for your mom, your dad, your spouse, your kids. I mean, what was that? How can you be strong when you have lost someone so dear to you? And then there are people who will tell you, that person is in a better place. Seriously? And then there are some who will come and tell you, please let me know if you need anything. I mean, I lost my dad long ago, but this is what I felt when I heard it. I need my dad. Can you bring him back? I mean, I don't even remember that I have to eat my food. I even forget to go to the bathroom at that time. Do you think I will call you and ask you for help at that moment? And then there are some people who will say, you know, this is meant to happen. No, it wasn't meant to happen. If I had that power, no, I would never have let it happen. And then there are people who will tell you, that person is with God, your dad is with God. God took him because of their good heart, you know, he's a very nice man. So God had to take him. Like, seriously? Didn't he find any other good man on this earth? And I mean, there are so many who are like bad. Why couldn't he take them? Why did he need my dad? So these are some of the insensitive statements that we hear. We have all heard it, right? And just like we are so lost when we lose someone, even the other people are lost. They don't know how to tell us and what to tell us. It's not that they are insensitive. It is just, they have good intentions. They want to make us feel better. But we don't want to feel better, right? Do we? No. And no one tells you that when you experience grief, no, it's a very personal experience. And it's very different for everyone. The way I go through grief may be totally different from the way you go through grief. And the way you handle it is totally different from the way I handle it. And believe me, there are no shortcuts. There are no detours. No one will share it with you. No one will carry that weight for you. You have to walk through this, call it a thorny path, but you have to do it yourself. Nobody will be there for you at that time. This is how you feel, right? So what is grief? Anyone would want to say? Yeah? You can unmute yourself.
It's basically feeling a tremendous, a very deep loss.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Experiencing a void.
Yes, yes, absolutely right. Anyone else?
Missing the physical presence of the person.
Yes, very true, very true. Yes.
Also, it's not just because of death.
Yes, absolutely. So what is grief? See, grief is that emptiness or that void, that vacuum that we feel in our life where we had once felt love. Okay. And we can experience grief if we lose someone to death, or even if that person walks out of our life. We can feel this when we lose something very important for us in life. People do feel grief when they lose a job, a life security, something very material also, even if you lose your house, things like that. We also feel loss for ourselves, who we were once upon a time. I have felt this very intensely. So grief can be for a varied, they can be for varied reasons. And it can be very sudden, or it can be just like, how iron rusts, corrosion. It can slowly seep into your life. And it actually feels like you're finished. See, I have experienced my dad dying all of a sudden due to a heart attack. And I have seen my father-in-law deteriorate and pass away after 10 years of going through a very painful cancer. Okay. So I've seen both sides of it. And believe me, grief is the same in both ways. What I experienced was sudden grief. What my husband experienced was perceptive grief. So when every single day he knows that today might be the last day, I might lose my dad today. You can also miss yourself. When you lose that smile on your face, that joy in your heart, even that is grief. So when we experience grief of a person whom we have loved very dearly, we realize that it will never go away. It is not going to go away. For those of you who are thinking that grief will just go push out of your life, it won't happen. We just learn to grow our lives around it. Okay. So I lost my dad sometime in 2002. It was a heart attack. And even today, it's almost 20 years, I'm still struggling with his loss. Even today, at times when I actually hear him calling out my name and I'm like, no, this can't be happening. I listen to his favorite song and I miss him. Those tears come to my eyes. Or sometimes I see someone walking on the street who dresses like him or walks like him, and I'm reminded of him. Sometimes I look at his photographs. And so many times when I'm very happy and I want to share it, he's the first person I think about. Or even when I'm very sad, it automatically happens. He's in my mind. He's in my heart. I know he's not here physically, but it feels like he never left. And I'm sure each one of you will connect to what I'm saying, right? So today, I'm going to invite all of you to share memories of your loved ones who have departed. Let this be kind of a tribute to how they've enriched our life with just their presence. And this is a safe space, and it's okay to cry. It's okay to express your emotions as they arise. I may not be able to hold my tears myself too today, and I know that none of you will judge me for it. So just let's allow this grief to freely flow through us today. Okay, so I would share my screen. This is grief. I don't know how many of you are aware of the study of grief which Elizabeth Kubler-Ross has done. She's written a wonderful book called Grief and Grieving. You will find the PDF online. So she has actually mentioned the stages of grief that we go through. I will not go into all this because it hardly matters to me. Stages of grief may be like this, but what I have felt is this on the right side. It's all kitch pitch. I don't know which stage I am in at what time, because as I was preparing for this, I again went back to, I wish it had not happened. So there are no stages of grief. Okay. So I urge you, I request you to come forward, unmute yourself, and let us remember the people that we have loved, that we still love. I'll stop sharing. Yeah. Please go ahead. If anybody wants to share anything, talk about someone whom they're really missing.
I don't mind starting.
Just a second.
Please start with them.
Dr.
Yes.
Ashwini, I'd
Yes.
like to hit pause on the record for this. Everyone's open to share. What
Yes, definitely, definitely. You can all have a sip of water if you want to. I know it got a little heavy. See, tapping on acute grief. It can be like you're standing very close to a bonfire or a fire, okay? So when you're feeling that pain inside you, it is quite intense. So when you start tapping, you can feel as if you're very close to the fire and it is too hot. And when we get too close to the fire, what do? We want to get a little back, right? Because we feel exposed. It intensifies the pain. That is what most of us feel. So the intensity of the pain goes quite high, and you feel that I will not be able to take this anymore. I see that 2 or 3 people have left also. I think it got too heavy for them from when we started. But believe me, when you're able to face your emotions, that is when we find healing. Okay. So the intensity of the pain increases and then it subsides. The only way through the pain or to go beyond the pain is through the pain. Okay. So if we keep moving away from the pain, what happens? If we move away from the fire, we feel cold, right? We feel cold and numb. So it's basically that the grieving makes our healing stuck and we are actually postponing it. And that's definitely not going to help us, right? So tapping is very important for processing grief, because the more we practice this particular method, the more we'll be able to feel what those emotions are, identify those emotions, unravel them, and deal with them in a better way. And it all starts with acknowledging that we are experiencing it. Only then can we heal, right? So tapping actually brings in hope. Okay. It helps to release those pent-up emotions. It helps to unblock your energetic pathways. And it helps you to accept them. It helps you accept whatever you're going through. Okay. And it helps you move on with life with hope. So if you want to understand more about EFT, then please access the earlier videos. We have done, I think 7 sessions we have done. And they're all there both on Joining Hands as well as on my YouTube channel. Okay. So if you type Dr. Ashwini Kamath, you'll find them. Otherwise, you'll also find them on Joining Hands. Ankita can help you with the links in case you don't find them. Okay. So I hope everyone has a notebook and a pen. Yes. Okay, because this is a very important part of EFT, because there is not much clarity when we are going through emotions, because they all get intertwined. Like when grief is something, we have anger, we have sadness, we have guilt, we have regret. I mean, there are so many emotions that are intertwined. So if you're able to jot down and separate them out, it really helps you. Okay, so please feel free to jot down whatever comes to your mind before the session, like when we were discussing all this before, or during the session, or even after the session. Okay, you will be able to resolve, you'll be able to make sense of what you're going through. It really matters. Okay, so now I want all of us to sit in a comfortable position. All of you are seated, comfortable. If you want to lie down, you can lie down, and it's perfectly all right. So it's not like you have your back straight and you sit in a particular position and all. No, EFT is a very wonderful technique that you can do anywhere, anytime. Okay, and I can show you the points once, and you can just follow me as I do it. I will also tell you what those points are. Okay, so just take in a deep breath. I have also mentioned in my earlier videos, but just for those who are new here, when there are two kinds of breath that we do. One is your normal chest breathing, and one is your abdominal breath. Okay, the breathing that we usually do is our chest breath. Okay, that is a shallow breath. But when you do abdominal breathing, your breathing is deeper and it helps you relax. Okay, so when you're doing any kind of a self-healing work, I urge you to practice the abdominal breath. Okay, and the way to do it is, you can just place one of your hands on your abdomen, breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. You can actually make out the difference when you once breathe out through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. The exhales are more deeper and they're more fuller when you do it through your mouth. Okay, and let me give you one small tip also here. So when you're breathing in through your nose, when your inhales are longer, you're in a position to assimilate information. Okay, and your brain becomes more active because of increased oxygenation. It's scientific, it's all proven. Okay, so your deeper inhales are when you really want to concentrate on something, and on the contrary, if you want to relax yourself, if you want to go to sleep, okay, if you want to feel more at peace, your exhales need to be longer. I hope you got the formula. Inhales are for the mind, exhales are for the body. Okay, so whenever you're doing any kind of a session which is stressing on you relaxing, feeling better, let the exhales be longer. Okay, so there is one formula that I teach every single person who comes to me. I call it the 4-7 formula. So those of you who have come to me already know it. So the inhale, mentally count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mentally count at your own speed. Pause. Mentally count to 2 and exhale through your mouth, mentally counting to 7. This is the 4-7 technique. Can we all do this once now? Yeah. And when you're exhaling, just imagine or visualize that you're blowing into a balloon. So the exhales will be deeper. And they're going to be abdominal breaths. Pratima is already feeling sleepy. Early morning. No, late night. Okay. Nice to see you, Pratima. Okay. So again, we start this. Take in a deep breath. Pause. Exhale. Okay. So deep inhales and deeper exhales. So just allow your body to relax, feel better. Okay. Just close your eyes now. And when you're closing your eyes, you can probably bring into your mind the image of the person that you have lost to maybe death or separation. So just feel your emotions as you visualize this person. How were you related to this person? What role did they play in your life?
बेटा ये ले जा बाहर इसको वहाँ कोने में हाँ
When did they pass away? How? What actually happened? What were their last minutes like before they passed away? Were you there with them at that time? How did you feel at that time? How are you feeling now as you recollect those memories? And as always, allow yourself to give a marking to the intensity of your emotions regarding the loss of this person. And we always go from -10 to +10. -10 being the worst that I can feel. I cannot take this anymore. To +10 being that I'm feeling absolutely wonderful. And 0 being neutral. Where do you stand with regards to emotions about the loss of this person? So everyone has a number. Please write it down in the notebook that you have next to you. Write down this number. Okay, so now let me just guide you through the meridian points that we shall be tapping during EFT. We always start with the karate chop point, which is below this fleshy part of your hand, below your little finger. We also call this the PR point or the psychological reversal point. Okay. After this is where we do what we call the setup statement or the EFT recipe. Okay. So this is where we start, and then we go to the top of the head. Today, wonderfully, I've shaved my head, so I'll be able to show you the exact point where you have to tap. It is right in the center of the head. Okay, here, right here. So this is the next point. The third point is here between the starting of your eyebrow and the start of your nose. Okay, this is the point. The next point is just next to the rim of your eyelid. Okay, here, that bone you can feel a slight notch in that bone. That is the space. The next point is just below your eye, where if you look at the center, your pupil just below it. Okay, that bone, that place. The next point is below the nose, in between the nostrils here. Another point is here, just below your lips, the chin, above the chin. It's above the chin. Okay, here. Another point is just 1 centimeter below your collarbone. Okay, this is your collarbone. मैं तो मोटी हूँ, थोड़ा सा fleshy. So for those of you who are thin, you'll be able to see your collarbone. So it's just 1 centimeter below the collarbone. And there is another point. It's hold your hand like this. Okay, below your armpit, 4 finger length from your armpit. There. Okay. And there are a few other points. There is one called the liver point, which is below your, for women, below the breast, where the strap is there. Okay. That is one point. And we do have the wrist point here. We will not be doing all that. Okay. The wrist point is there. And there are also the gamut series. Okay. So we'll be doing the gamut series today. Okay. Along with the EFT because it is more effective. Now, how do you tap? You can use 2 fingers. You can use 3 fingers. Okay. Ideally, it is the middle finger placed on top of the index finger, but we can also do like this, 2 fingers. Okay. So which hand and which side, there are meridians running parallelly on both sides of the body. So you can tap any one side. You can also tap both sides. It hardly matters. You can sit, you can lie down, you can do anything and tap. I do tapping while walking also. So it's perfectly all right. There are no restrictions. What if you miss out on a point? Perfectly all right. Doesn't matter. Okay. In fact, there are other methods of EFT like faster EFT, which only take 2 or 3 meridian points and they complete the entire series. So it's perfectly all right. Okay. So all set. Can we start? Okay. So first we'll always begin with the gamut series. Okay. So take your one hand and on the other hand, you can just this fleshy part of your hand and say, you can just, feel the statements that I'm saying in your head. Okay. Even though I feel a very deep and immense sense of loss over the death of, tell the name of the person, think of this person. I'm learning to deeply and completely accept what has happened and myself anyway. Even though I remember hearing or seeing or saying or maybe feeling some unpleasant things in their last moments, I choose to deeply and completely accept myself and whatever has happened. So maybe you can bring to your mind any kind of sounds or visions or things that you might have heard or experienced at that particular moment, which is still haunting you. Lightly tapping, don't have to tap hard. Even though I may have been so panicked, so scared when it all happened, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I feel guilty for being the one who is left behind, I will still learn to deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I don't know what to do next, one day at a time, I will figure it out as I go, as I learn to deeply and completely accept myself and love myself. Even though I never imagined that I'll have to live the rest of my life without ever seeing, talking, holding, or touching this person whom I love so much, I will learn to manage and choose to love myself deeply and completely. Take a deep breath. And now we start with the top of the head. I'll be mentioning the points as we tap on them. Top of the head. Why did she or he have to leave me and go away so soon? What wrong have I done? What have I done to get this? The eyebrow point. My heart is hurting so badly when I think of this person. Tell the name of this person. Bring the image of this person into your mind. Corner of the eye. I have lost someone whom I love so much, and I really don't know how I'm going to carry out without them. Below the eye. This person was my friend, my guide, my support, my mentor, my philosopher, my lover, my child, whatever. the relationship you had with this person. Below the nose, my heart, my mind, and my soul is feeling so sad, so lost, so lonely, so broken that this person is no longer there with me. Below your lip, I'm scared and confused about how I'm going to live the rest of my life without this person. Collarbone point, I don't know how I'm going to manage on my own. How will I manage everything? Below the armpit, I feel numb and lost, thinking of a future without this person. We start with the next sequence. Again, top of the head. I wish he or she was still there with me now. Eyebrow. I wish I could tell him or her how much this person means to me. I just wish I could tell him. Corner of the eye. I wish I could show him or her how much I love, how much I care. Below the eye. I wish I could give this person all the love that he or she had given to me. At least one last time. Below the nose. I want to hold this person close to me one last time. Below the lips. I want to find comfort in their presence one last time. Collarbone. I wish I could sit and listen to him or her one last time. I was so distracted back then by things that were really not important. I now know what is really important. I wish I could do. Under the armpit. I wish I could share my thoughts with this person now one last time. I wish I could share my love. Starting with another sequence, top of the head again. I now realize that this person was a part of me and will always remain so. Eyebrow. I'm so grateful for the time that I was given with this person in this lifetime. Corner of the eye. I know that he or she is looking over me even now. Below the eye. I'm aware that this person will always be there with me in my heart as long as I live. Below the nose. I know that he or she wants me to be strong and carry on with life. Below the lip. I know that he or she is in a better place now, where there is no pain. Collarbone point. I realize, though I'm not able to accept, that maybe it was meant to be. I still don't feel like that though. Below the armpit. I know that he or she must be happy, spreading joy and love wherever he or she is, just like how they did when they were with me. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Top of the head again. I choose to allow this grief and sadness to flow freely through me. Eyebrow. I accept the spirit of mourning for my loss. Corner of the eye. I allow this grief, time and space, and opportunity to be completely processed through me. Below the eye. I know I'll find my happiness once again, because that's exactly what they would want for me. Below the nose. Until then, I allow myself to completely experience this feeling of sadness, grief, anger, guilt, whatever it is that I'm experiencing right now. Below the chin, below the lip. It's okay. I can take all the time I want to mourn the loss. They meant so much to me. Collarbone. It's okay to be angry at God for snatching someone so important and so precious to me. Below the armpit. It's okay to be angry with him or her also for having left me so early without a hint. And it's take a deep breath. Again, start with the next sequence. Top of the head again. I choose to celebrate his or her life rather than just mourn their death. Eyebrow point. They brought in so much love, so much joy, so much happiness into my life. Corner of the eye. And they brought so much love and happiness, not just into my life, but into the lives of everyone around them. Below the eye. And I've choose to feel gratitude for their presence in my life. Below the nose. And I've choose to focus on the love that we share. Below the lips. I choose to lead my life the way they would have wanted me to. And this shall be the greatest honor to them. Collarbone. I know I can do this. Under the armpit. I choose to release all emotions that are overwhelming me now. And now, again, top of the head. Letting go of all fear. Eyebrow point. Letting go of all expectations that I have from me, that others have from me, that I have from others. Corner of the eye. Letting go of all stress, all anxiety. Below the eye. Letting go of all sadness, grief, hurt, pain. Below the nose. Letting go of all anger, all resentment. Below the lips. Letting go of guilt, all the remorse, all the regrets that I have. Collarbone. Letting go of any feeling of abandonment, rejection, loneliness, loss. Below the armpit. Letting go of all doubt, all despair, all shame. Take a deep breath. Now just hold your wrist, okay? Take your 3 fingers and you can keep it on your wrist. Hold your wrist. Take in a deep breath through your nose. And as you exhale, say Om or say peace, whatever connects. Wonderful. So now we'll be doing the gamut series. The gamut point is this between your ring finger and your little finger. As you proceed, you just press your finger and go down. You'll feel that V point, you know, this is like a V and it meets at a particular point here. Can you feel? All of you can feel it? Can I have some videos on so that I know that you've got the right space? So this particular notch here, okay? So that is a gamut series. Now gamut series was the first thing that people did even before EFT started, okay? So you can do the gamut series individually and not do the EFT, or you can do the EFT with affirmations and not do the gamut series. I prefer to do them both, okay? So this point is what we'll be using, but here this series or this algorithm or this recipe is for grief, okay? So we start with the edge of the eyebrow here, okay? And just take 2 fingers and tap 5 times on the edge of the eyebrow. 5 times under the eye. 5 times under the arm. Okay. And then we do the gamut series now. Okay. So here you will be tapping. Okay. And then what you will do is you will just close your eyes as you keep tapping. Approximately we'll be tapping this particular point 50 times. Okay. Approximately. So first you close your eyes as you keep tapping, and then you keep your eyes open. You keep tapping. You look to your left and down with your eyes. Keep tapping. Come back to the center. Keep tapping. Go to the left. If you have gone to the left, go to the right. Or if you have gone to the right, go to the left. Keep tapping. Come back to the center. Keep tapping. And now we'll hum. And now say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again. And now again you will tap on the edge of the eyebrow 5 times. Again under the eye 5 times. Under the arm 5 times. Collarbone 5 times. And now just roll your eyes from the bottom to the top of the ceiling. So from the floor to the ceiling, it's an eye roll. Okay. Done that? Close your eyes. Take in a deep breath again. Wonderful. So now go back in time to remember a time in your life when you were spending time very happily with this person that you have lost. Okay. When somehow everything was very happy, very joyful. Maybe you were enjoying with them. Maybe it was a ceremony, maybe an event. Maybe they made you feel so special and loved and cared for in some way, you know. Maybe you traveled with them, maybe visited a new place, or maybe it's something very, very routine, very mundane, very ordinary, whatever. So just allow yourself to fully experience this memory in all detail. The sights, the smell, the touch, the taste, the sounds. Allow yourself to notice every single detail. Where were you? What was happening around you? Experience that joy, that happiness. How did it make you feel? And as you're thinking of that experience, where do you feel it the most in your body? Allow yourself to feel that. Magnify it. You know, we all have smartphones. So when we have to zoom in, how do we do that? We just use our fingers to zoom in, right? So zoom it like you do on your smartphones. See that experience, that image in all clarity, big, clear, HD screen, okay? Bring this memory frame very close to your heart. Just hold the sides of this memory, okay, as if it's a photo frame. Bring it very close to your heart. What happens when it starts coming closer to you? It magnifies, right? It becomes more clearer, okay? So just hold it so close to your heart, absorb it into your mind, your body, your soul. Just integrate that image inside you. How does it make you feel? Just smile as you do that. And now this will be the first thing that will come to your mind whenever you think of this person. Just again roll your eyes from the floor to the ceiling as you bring that image closer to you and you integrate it. Don't move your head, just roll your eyes. Take a deep breath. Welcome back. You can open your eyes. So reorient to your surroundings. And I want you to notice something which is near to you, which probably you have not noticed for a long time. Just look at that thing which is near you, which you've probably not seen in a long time, and just send some gratitude to it and smile as you do that. How are you feeling now? Make a note of your emotions. Now, again, this is very important. Put down a score between -10 and +10. Now, where do you find yourself when you're thinking of the loss of this person? Please, I would request all of you to put it in the chat box, so I get an idea of how the session has worked out for you. I want both the scores, the before and the after. I just don't want Abhiwala score. Thank you so much, Kajal. We in EFT always work from the negative towards the positive. We don't stop until we move towards the positive. So if you find yourself still stuck on the negative, then you require a repeat session. Okay. Wonderful, Meenal. I'm so glad. Vikram, wonderful. Sonali, awesome. Neetu, wonderful. Rita, awesome. So nice. Sudha, thank you so much. Wonderful, Darshana. Zenobia, thank you so much. Wonderful, Usha. So you notice how effective EFT is? Yeah. You need to experience it in order to realize. Okay. It's one of the best tools that you can have. And this tool is in your arsenal. It's a tool of, you don't need therapist as such. You can do it on your own. And if you'll go through the previous sessions of EFT, you will realize there is a sequence that we follow, and you can do it yourself. Okay. In fact, I've described the entire sequence also on how we take it. So please feel free to go through the earlier sessions. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Meenal. Yes, yes. Okay. So I just wanted to share a little bit before we, finish with the EFT session. So today, as I was doing this session, I was thinking of my dad. Okay. He passed away in 2002. It was a heart attack. He was quite young to go, it was a huge shock. The grief is still there. I think it's going to remain. I'm still working on it. And there's one memory which comes very strong to me now, and I wanted to share it with all of you. So every night, there's me and my brother. My brother is disabled. He's got cerebral palsy. So it was my dad's duty to put us to sleep every day. Okay. So we would sit in the crook of his arm, there was me and there was my brother, and he would hold us like this and read out a story to us every day, every night before we would sleep. And he used to read out different stories from books. And this is, I think, my favorite memory of him ever. So I just wanted to end this session with a story. So I don't know, many of you must have heard of this, but still. So this is the story of Kissa Gautami. Okay. She's a very young woman. She's from a very wealthy family, well-to-do family. And she was happily married. And her husband was a very well-to-do merchant. And she gave birth to a child. Her son was 1 year old and he suddenly fell ill and he died. Okay. So Kissa Gautami was struck with grief and she was like, what am I supposed to do now? How will I live my life? She's holding the child in her arms, her dead child, and she's weeping and she's mourning. And she took the dead baby in her arms and she went begging from house to house, please bring my son back to life. I love him. I cannot bear this anymore. I want him alive. But nobody could help her. Okay. But she didn't give up, the heart of a mother. And then she heard from someone that there is a Buddhist monk who has come. It is Buddha himself. And he's here in the village. So she said, yes, he will be able to help me. So she carried the dead child to Buddha and she told her story and she says that I want him back alive. People worship you like God. You are the only one who can help me. So Buddha listens with patience, with compassion. And then he says, Kissa Gautami, there is one way that I know your problem will be resolved. Go and find me one handful of mustard, rai ka dana, from any house where there has been no death. Okay. So Kissa Gautami is like filled with hope. Yes, my son will come back alive. Buddha will bring him back to life. So she goes searching from door to door. I want one handful of rai, just one handful of mustard. Okay. But in your house, nobody should be dead. And soon she discovered that there's not a single family in the entire village where nobody has died. And now she understood what Buddha had wanted to tell her. She found out. Suffering is a part of life. And death comes to all of us. Okay. So once she understood this fact that death is not inevitable, she was able to stop her grieving. So she took the body of her dead child and she went and cremated it. And then she went back to Buddha and she became one of his followers. Death is inevitable. No? All of us have to face it one day or the other. But what is really important is that we find a life which is worth living until we die. So there was this one teacher of mine when I was in, I think, 4th or 5th standard, and we had those slam books, people used to fill up. So her name was Leena ma'am. So she wrote down one sentence. She said, she has written this, as long as you live, keep learning how to live. Wonderful quote. No? I've so believed in this since my 4th standard. Okay. And this is something that I really strive to, follow in my life. So I would really love Yes, yes. So I would really love for you all to share your thoughts now, because our session for today has ended. And I'm open to all your reviews, all your wait. Let me share my screen before I end it. Okay. So there is something that I really found very nice, which one of my friends had done. Okay. So it's grief rituals and projects. It's to honor and think of the person that was left. Okay. So these are some of the things that can be done to honor their presence in your life. Of course, it's your own. You can do what you want to. So there are, you can write a letter to the person who's no longer there to express how you feel about them. You can create a song, make a video of their memories, write a book, create a memory box. Coffee table book is what my friend had done. So you can create a foundation, you can offer a scholarship, you can grow a tree. I mean, there's so much that you can do. So this was, and finally, there's no rule book, there's no time frame, there's no judgment. Grief is very individual. Do what is right for your soul. Okay. So nobody can tell you the right way to grieve. It's your own experience, right? So with this, I'm open to thoughts from you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank